Jesus freak here. So, I'm thinking. When I got this, the idea was, you're not feeling like taking this now. Take it when you feel like it. What is it? It's a consecrated Eucharistic host. So, contrary to Reverend, my dad, he'll say, my dad's Reverend Kofal, I'm Pastor Matt, but when he gave it to me, he was like, that was what he had in mind. But to me, it became kind of a white elephant. Because of a difference in our soteriologies, and because of a difference in how we understand the Eucharist. And I said, there's places where I disagree with both mainline churches, broadly speaking, such as the United Methodist Church, which I've been a part of most of my life. And evangelical churches. And I got to thinking, my main point at which I differ with evangelical churches comes down to a matter of when I think Jesus' redemptive sacrifice takes effect. And as I understand it, you ask most evangelicals, they're going to say it takes effect at the point of conversion. You passed from death to life. Where I've always understood it to be something that takes effect at the point of death. So someone will be like, if you think about it, you're kind of making faith a work, aren't you? And I'm like, faith is set at opposition to works. That means it can't be a work. Because it's in the category of not works. I had to be a bit careful how I said that, because it's like, I can't say faith and works are in opposition to each other, because you can't have one without the other. And that doesn't fit the definition of two things being in opposition. But faith itself is not a work. That said, our level of faith might go up and down over time. Sometimes we have more faith and sometimes we have less faith. And it's like, I'm not saying I'm without faith just because I don't think that in this lifetime God's going to forgive me of something if I can't take it to someone that I think has the authority to forgive it on his behalf. Or whatever you may say for that. I have no doubt to be forgiven of a little peccadillo, which, relatively speaking, it's peccadillo. Peccadillo. Want to be specific about how it's supposed to be said. I don't really care. I'm not speaking Spanish. But I'm like, do I think he'll forgive me? Do I think God will forgive me? Yeah. But not on earth. And that's where all these differences come into play. I mean, Jesus is a parable of someone who's forgiven, goes on to be a hypocrite, and then gets unforgiven for it. I'm like, let's be practical here. Could we have provisional remission and then get the real remission after we die and meet our Maker? That seems to be in line with what Scripture teaches, from my understanding. I mean, there's obviously qualifications on our forgiveness. We don't forgive others for what they do to us. As Jesus says right after the Lord's Prayer, he says, your forgiveness is dependent on you forgiving others. If you don't forgive others when they harm you, you know how many times you've wronged God, and you think he'll forgive you for that? And somewhat relevant to that topic, I've had people say, they don't really like the fact that I refer to myself as a fatalist. And I've said that I believe that which has been decreed will come to pass, and there ain't a damn thing we can do to stop it. And I've said, I feel like it's presumptuous to ask God anything other than thy will be done. But his will be done. No matter what we do. The only other thing I've really asked, give me just what I need to survive. I don't need any more than that. That's, despite the Vulgate reading of Matthew 6, whatever exact verse it is. I think that's the actual meaning behind, give us this day our daily bread. You have this verse in Proverbs. I think it's Proverbs 30. I have a Bible here, so might as well look it up. Yep, here it is. Proverbs 30, starting at verse 7. Two things have I required of thee, deny me them not before I die. Require, of course, a false friend. It means a request. So two things have I required of thee, deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, Who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal, and take the name of my God in vain. This is the actual thing that Jesus was pointing to when he said, give us this day our daily bread. But it's also, the general gist of the Lord's Prayer is right here in Proverbs 30. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, we forgive of those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Most of that's basically just, pointing here. Jesus freaked out.